Hello and welcome back to my video series on the Kowa spoke cutter. This video segment is basically tips, suggestions, things you may have noticed, kind of a wrap up before I get into investment and return on investment. So first thing I may have missed out before is that there is another couple of maintenance items you need to be aware of. When you take out the slider, that gives you an opportunity to lubricate the back side of the slider and to also lubricate the knife edge of the slider, because the knife edge slides down in a crevice or a cutout right here, and that's going to need some lubrication. And of course, the back side of the slider every once in a while is going to slide against the back of the spoke machine body, so lubricating that with Tri-Flow synthetic lightweight oil is a good idea. Let's put this back in nice and gently. Also, in the handle assembly for actuating the slider, you have this pivot pin and this pivot pin right here. On the back side are tiny Allen set screws that can be removed. You push those pins out, lubricate them, put them back in, put the set screws back in and back them off a little bit. You might have to use Loctite, but you can lubricate these two. That's another maintenance area. I'm sure you noticed that the entire time I've been working on the spoke machine, this plate was not here. Normally when a Kowa spoke cutter is shipped to you, it comes with a plate that covers the bearings. As a personal preference, I keep the plate off. I don't use it. And the reason is that when I'm threading spokes, I want to watch those bearings. I want to monitor those bearings. I'm waiting to see if there's any discoloration indicating fatigue. I'm waiting to see any appearance of what looks like lines on them indicating they're going out around, getting ready to crack. I want to know ahead of time by watching when I need to have a set of new bearings ready to be swapped in. So I like to keep the plate off as a personal preference. I want to wash the bearings as I'm threading the spokes over time. I'm sure you've also noticed that I have my micro adjuster upside down. Normally this washer is on the bottom and this micro adjuster has the large part on top, the small part downward, sitting on that small washer. My experience has been that whenever this is loose, it's really unstable and wiggly, and I don't like that. So what I have done is I have put a 5mm alloy spacer down here with a notch cut out for this bolt, and I have the wide side of the adjuster facing down, providing some stability while I'm adjusting. That's me, that's not Kowa factory, that's my modification. Either way, the adjuster does exactly what it does, micro adjust. That's just simply me, that's not Kowa. Both of these handles for cutting and threading have set screws for holding the levers in place. Those set screws like to come loose. You could use a little bit of Loctite, blue Loctite, to keep those set screws in place, but what I do is I take electrical tape and I very tightly apply electrical tape and I stretch it as I wrap it around. The electrical tape that you see on these keeps those Allen screws, when they come loose, from falling onto the floor and disappearing. They stay right in place. Again, that's me. If you saw in the earlier video, that little chute I have on the back, again, that's something that I made. That's not something that Kowa factory made. I used that to get the bits and pieces in the catch can out in an orderly fashion. One more thing you need to watch out for. I'm going to take off the catch can lid. And notice the position of this lever right here. Notice how it's facing a little bit towards me. I'm going to reach inside the catch can and I'm going to remove a rubber grommet that's on a post. And watch what happens when this rubber grommet that I've just taken out of the catch can is no longer there. Notice how the handle is now forward. Anytime you see that, your spoke cutter is telling you your grommet has come off the post in the bottom of the catch can. Usually when this happens, it happens because you have a heavyweight oil on the slider that has worked its way to the bottom of the slider, and that oil has grabbed the grommet and pulled the grommet off the post along with your slider. This is why I recommend only using a small amount of heavy oil, wiping off the excess. If you can't manage that, use lightweight oil instead. Anytime you see this, stop what you're doing, put your grommet back on the post inside the catch can. If you don't pay attention to this, you might accidentally throw this away. So, do you see this? This is the problem. The grommets come off the post. Putting them back on is straightforward and simple. So that is basically it for tips, suggestions, miscellaneous things that I've missed. Let's wrap up this part of the video series very quickly before I go on to investment and return on investment. What you have done in watching all these videos is you have basically come on a journey with me as I have done a complete service on this spoke machine. I've replaced the bearings, you saw that. I replaced the dies, you saw that. I set the die spacing and pressure using the micro adjuster, you saw that. You saw me take apart the cutter, lubricate it, clean things out, put it back in, you saw that. You came along with me as I did all the stuff that I needed at 93,000 cycles to get this machine ready to push back past 100,000 and hopefully, fingers crossed, head towards 200,000 cycles. That is my goal. My goal after all this servicing is to push this machine past 100,000 and head towards 200,000 and hopefully hit 200,000 before I retire as a wheel builder. And that wraps up this segment of the video. One more video to come on investment and return on investment. See you then.